An unidentified flying object was spotted in India. Where exactly? Near the Bir Tikendrajit International Airport in the northeastern state of Manipur. The mysterious object was seen for at least an hour and a half, according to reports. It forced commercial flight operations to be shut down for over 3 hours. What exactly was this object? Was it a drone? Was it a balloon? A Chinese spy balloon, perhaps? The object has triggered a lot of questions, naturally so. And here's what we know so far. At around 2:30 p.m. local time, the Imphal Air Traffic Control got a call from the Central Industrial Security Force, CISF. The control room said that an unidentified flying object has been spotted. It was just above the air traffic control tower. It could be seen from the tower's terrace. People on the ground, including the airline and CISF personnel, also saw it. The object was white in color. Some saying it appeared like a drone. It flew over the terminal building and moved above the air traffic control tower. It remained there for some time and then it moved south of the runway and remained there till 4:05 p.m. local time. That was the last time the object was seen. After 4:05 p.m., it disappeared. It was a small object, but it caused a lot of disarray. As soon as it was sighted, all airport operations were kept on hold till further notice. A notice to the airmen of airspace closure was also flashed. Now, for those unversed, this notice relays information regarding a change in any aeronautical facility, service or hazard. An Indigo A320 flying from Kolkata to Imphal was told to keep a holding pattern. The flight remained in a holding pattern for about 25 minutes. Ultimately, it was diverted to Guwahati in Assam. Another Indigo A320 flying from Delhi to Imphal was diverted to Kolkata. 3 flights, 2 Air India and an Indigo aircraft also remained parked as the airspace was shut. And soon the Indian Air Force scrambled its Rafale fighter aircraft to search for the mysterious object. At around 3:55 p.m., the Eastern Air Commando began scanning the Imphal airspace for threats. This went on for an hour and a half. Subsequently, the command in Shillong allowed Imphal Airport to resume normal operations. And soon the Imphal Air Traffic Control resumed charge of the airspace. Aircraft operations finally restarted at around 6 p.m. After over 24 hours, it's still not clear what that object really was. And when we speak of a UFO, it's usually assumed that it relates to something from space. But there is more to this term, by the way. Unidentified flying objects need not point to outer space origins. They could range from being birds, balloons, drone-like objects, or foreign adversary systems. The UFO spotted in Imphal has raised many questions, of course. First and foremost, what was this object? And more importantly, who sent it? What was the intent? Was it sent as a threat? Was China somehow involved? This is where Imphal is. As you can see, it's not so far away from China. And Beijing, of course, has a history of meddling with the affairs of northeastern states of India. Was it another Chinese attempt at espionage? China has sent spy balloons far off in the west to the US. How difficult is it to send one to its next door paths? According to Forbes, there are around 2,600 billionaires in the world, and together they are worth a combined $12.2 trillion. So while climate change may be a global problem, for some billionaires, it's not the same, it seems. From owning top-end private luxury vehicles to consuming more electricity, these billionaires are unapologetically spewing greenhouse gases. Hence, as the planet continues to feel the impact of global warming, studies have shown that these lifestyles are contributing the most to the climate crisis. In fact, according to an analysis by Oxfam and US researchers, 12 of the world's wealthiest billionaires produce more greenhouse gas emissions from their yachts, private jets, mansions, financial investments than the annual energy emissions of 2 million homes. Just let that comparison sink in. The tycoons mentioned include Jeff Bezos, the Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich, the tech billionaires Bill Gates, Larry Page, Michael Dell, including the inventor and social media company owner Elon Musk, Mexican business magnate Carlos Slim. Together, they all account for at least 17 million tons of CO2 and equivalent greenhouse gas emissions annually. So, on one hand, while the world's wealthiest people have never been richer and their carbon footprint has expanded as a consequence, on the other hand, their statements to curb the ongoing climate crisis have contradicted the most. According to conversion data from the US Environmental Protection Agency, out of the 12 rich billionaires, Carlos Slim, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos account for over 6 million tons of carbon emissions individually. So what are the richest of the rich, the top 12 wealthiest individuals in the world, doing through either their personal or corporate influence to help the world and avoid the worst consequences of climate change? Well, it's a mixed picture. For instance, while Jeff Bezos made big pledges like investing $10 billion on Earth Fund and billions of dollars for Amazon to reduce its carbon footprint, the Amazon boss himself invested in buying a $500 million super yacht that Ocean Company built especially for him. The yacht, which is 127 meters long and took 3 years to build, boasts the title of the largest sailing vessel in the world. Its carbon emissions are over 7,000 tons a year, according to the analysis by Wilk and Burrows. And apart from Bezos, Microsoft chief Bill Gates is also not far behind in making climate commitments. With a net worth of nearly $130.4 billion, the global billionaire, who does not own a giant yacht, but his private jets, luxurious mansions and a seaplane have majorly contributed to the higher carbon footprints. According to a report published in The Conversation, Gates alone accounts for annual carbon footprint at nearly 7,500 metric tons, and earlier committed to take steps to reduce his personal emissions impact by buying sustainable aviation fuel, switching to electric cars, using solar panels, and even buying offsets that are delivered through carbon removal technologies. And even though social media giant Elon Musk's carbon footprint is lower than the other billionaires, Musk's estimated footprint was recorded at over 2,000 tons. Recorded in a report published in The Conversation. Musk in 2020 sold all of his mansions and promised to divest the rest of his worldly possessions. Musk does not own a super yacht and says he does not even take vacations. The Tesla founder even argued that his work with Tesla and Solar City has made huge contributions to curb the climate crisis. Carbon inequality math is so new and so intimidating that researchers assessing it are left mostly with questions. Perhaps the biggest one comes in the affluence paper. Can a transition to reduced and changed consumption be achieved while at the same time keeping economic and social stability? So as consumption and emissions continue to rise, that remains very much an open question. I want to now talk about something that happened over the weekend and stayed with me. I'm sure you've all heard about the Miss Universe pageant. Well, this year's Miss Universe contest took place in El Salvador, and a plus-sized model participating in this year's pageant broke all stereotypes. 2 transgenders also took part. It was a pageant that saw the old rules crushed by new realities. But the question is this too little, too late? Our next report getting you the complete story.
Shanice Palacios from Nicaragua was crowned Miss Universe. It was the 72nd edition of the international contest, but the events that unfolded marked a first in its history. For the first time, a plus-size model entered the international competition. That wasn't the only reason why this year's contest dominated the headlines. The 72nd edition of the International Beauty Pageant also featured 2 transgender women, 2 mothers and 1 plus-size model. Now, you must be wondering, it's 2023. How can that be a big deal? Well, it is. Because, you see, over the years, beauty pageants have set certain standards and expectations. No matter how questionable and in contrast with reality they might be, let's just take you back in time. Do you know how the Miss Universe pageant came into being? Miss America 1951, Yolanda Berbeze, refused to pose in a bathing suit for the company Catalina Swimwear. So the company came up with its own pageant. A lot has changed since then, but the expectation for women to strut around in a swimsuit has not. What did change? This year was that a plus-size model entered the competition. Meet Miss Nepal, Jane Deepika Garrett, who is also a nurse and an entrepreneur. When she made it to the top 20, this was what her Instagram post read. I'm quoting, "I'm so proud to be representing real-size beauty around the world and breaking the stereotypes of beauty pageants. So proud of the new Miss Universe and will forever cherish this season of my life that was life-changing." Her pictures from the contest have been going viral, and why won't they? She has, after all, broken stereotypes. They are not just images of her from the contest, they are shining posters promoting the cause of body positivity, teaching women to be comfortable in their own skin, no matter what their size is. In fact, inclusivity became a huge takeaway from this contest. It also featured 2 transgender women and 2 mothers. Miss Portugal Marina Machete and Miss Netherlands Ricky Cole marked the first trans women participation in the competition. Ricky Cole is a 22-year-old model and LGBTQ activist. Marina Machete is a 23-year-old flight attendant. The thing is, over the years, beauty pageants have set questionable expectations. Earlier, official rules said that pageant contestants must not have ever been married, not had a marriage annulled, nor given birth to or parented a child. The title holders are also required to remain unmarried throughout their reign. But things changed in August 2022. The Miss Universe organization announced that mothers, married, or pregnant women are eligible to compete in the pageant. And now, a plus-size model was also a part of the contest. It is a huge step in the right direction. Old pageant rules have been crushed by new realities. Stereotypes are being broken finally. But is it too little too late?